I think about it, dog, I be cheesing. My whole life I've searched for the meaning. My whole life I worked for the greening. My whole life I've been plotting and scheming. All my life, swear I've been dreaming. So say, oh, you should take this tip. Make it out the rain, how you get this drip? Say, oh, you should take this tip. Make it out the rain, how you get this drip?
Welcome to Take This Tip Podcast. I'm your host, Shaun.
I'm Nick.
And today we have a special guest today.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Jordyn Sommer. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know? Where should I start?
Let's start from the bottom to the top.
Well, I was born in 1998.
You really gotta do all that.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell me, what is it that you want to know? I'm 26 years old.
Okay.
I work a regular 9 to 5. I spend the rest of my time doing things that make me feel fulfilled.
Okay.
I like to work out. I like to do outdoor activities. I love to write. I love to just live my life. I don't know.
Okay, let me help you out because that's just the surface
Yeah, I hate
stuff.
that question. It's a
Yeah.
terrible question.
That's just the surface stuff. So
Yeah,
I've been knowing you for like a year now.
just about.
Okay. So when we talked, I believe last year in August, September, somewhere in the summer sometime,
Mm-hmm.
we had a long conversation of just about everything.
Yeah.
And today I want this episode to be, I wanted to highlight who exactly Jordyn is.
Okay.
Okay, that's Jordyn, the person, the mom,
Mm-hmm.
all of that.
Okay.
So I have some questions geared specifically for you.
Okay, perfect.
I'm not gonna get too personal, but I'm gonna get a little personal.
No worries.
Okay. All right. So the first question for me, when we talked on Thursday, kind of like a little uneasy. Our last conversation about upcoming holiday. Remember?
How did you just be frank?
So I kind of want to touch on that a little bit. My question to you is, because we're talking about how like love was all in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of just feeling some type of way about that, right? Like I said, I'm not trying to be too personal, but when you think of the word love, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
God. When I think about love, the first thing that comes to mind is God. The second thing that comes to mind is sacrifice. Because to me, the highest act of love is sacrifice. The reason I say this is because God sent his only son to die on a cross for us so that we may live. You get what I'm saying? So the ultimate form of love to me is sacrifice. So when I think about love, I think about God. Obviously, love means many things. Love comes in many forms and fashions. There's many different types of loves. The way that I love my sister may not be the way that I love somebody romantically, may not be the way that I love my child. But if you're not talking about, let me take that back, right? Because there are different types of love, but I think that real love, there aren't different types. There's just one type, right? And so, although I've loved people in different ways, I think that true, genuine love that's not clouded by lust or what you can do for me or how I'm feeling in the present moment, the noun, right? That thing. Love is a verb, it's an action, and it's a way in which you show up and you treat people. It's a way in which you act towards others. And so I think love is a verb that is shown through sacrifice, consideration, the ability to show up in love even when the emotions don't feel loving or positive. I think love is something that you do out of obedience. And it's supposed to be unconditional because we don't only follow the laws when we feel like it, right? There's still consequences. So I think love is something that's unconditional. I think it's an action. And I think it's supposed to be, although we struggle with this, it's supposed to be just very unconditional.
And do you feel like you've ever experienced the highest form of love from an
Of course,
individual?
I am the daughter of a king, the Almighty Father. Of course, I've experienced love. I've experienced God.
In addition to an individual, like as far as like from a partner?
Yeah, I think so. I've been in plenty of loving relationships, friendships. I have a huge family, a very big, blended family. I've experienced all the different forms of love. I've experienced the good and the bad that comes when you're in love. I've experienced it all for sure in my short 26 years.
Was there did you know, like, or was there like a time when you knew, like, okay, like I'm in love, like with your partner?
um, I think when you get in a relationship with somebody, or like when you're dealing with someone romantically, even like friendships, right? Because I got homegirls, like one of my soulmates is a woman, right? And not
Mhm.
because I'm a lesbian, but one of my soulmates is absolutely a woman. And I'm in love with her, right? Unconditionally. Blood couldn't make us closer than what we are. Romantically, I think you know that I think you realize you're in love with somebody after the first time they really piss you off, right? I think so. Um,
So toxic.
is it not in a sense because they piss you off, but it's like, do you still have a fondness or respect for them even after they've done something that
That you may not like.
you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
Got you.
displeasing
I
to
love that.
you. Are you able to still have a respect or an infatuation or anything towards this person even once they've disappointed you? I think it's easy to know if you really love somebody once they really piss you off. Not because I'm turned on by the toxicity, but because if I can still respect you after you've essentially failed, then there's love there, right?
Some will say. No,
Maybe, maybe not.
I mean, well, I understand your perspective, and I do agree with it. There is another side to it that can be added into an equation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can see it as like somebody making somebody, happy or doing something for them, like the little things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I bought you your favorite ice cream, and they're like, okay, that's when I knew I was in love, because they cared enough about me to know that I'm telling them I had a long day at work, that they stopped at the store and bought me my favorite ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
That's my person.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that too. I'm not saying that my answer is the only answer.
No,
That's
not
just,
at all.
but I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm like, I try not to, whenever I have conversations with people, I try not to like go overly into just like a bunch of God talk. But that's my foundation, so it's so hard for me not to.
No, amen to that.
It's so hard for me not to, but I always think about when they say, like, it's easy to love those who love you. Even the Bible talks about it. It's easy to love who loves you. Even evil people do good things for those that they love. But, like, how often are you able to show love to those who are not the greatest, those who are hard to love, those that are rigid and thorny like cactus? Like, how well are you able to love those who are hard to love? I think that that's when you know that the love is real, right? Because I think a lot of times we confuse love with lust. We confuse love with comfortability. We
Definitely.
confuse love with comfort. Just these different, there's a lot of things that we use to make us think that we love something or someone, right? Sometimes it's just as the familiarity of it. I could be with somebody and it's like I know that I'm not really in love, but I'm so comfortable here. And it's like, oh, I love you. I love him. And it's like, no, I'm just comfortable here. This is a familiar space for me. It's easy for me to be here even when it's hard. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm in love with you because I show up and do the little things because I'm mindful or tactful.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of people know how to play their position. That doesn't mean that there's love.
That's deep. Has your relationship with God always been this way, or?
I would say that I've always had a relationship with God. I have a praying grandmother, and I know that I'm living in some of her prayers right now, even before I came to like my own revelation of God for myself. And so my mom, she would tell me when I was a little girl, I used to walk around like with a stick, like as if I was Moses, stuff like that. So it's like, I know that I've always known God. I remember even being like in high school and stuff when I would have days where I felt sad or down. I always knew that it was God that I was supposed to pray to. And I went to church growing up, but obviously as kids, we're not paying attention. I'm going for the snacks and the songs, you know? But I want to say when I turned, or maybe just before I turned 18, is when I really started going to church and really like paying attention and really letting the word penetrate my heart. And that's when I really saw a relationship with God. And then I got baptized when I was 19 years old after I had my son. And I want to say that's when like I really started getting really deeply, heavily into the word of God. And like, I mean, I would be excited to read my Bible after school. I was in school at the time. I'm like, okay, I'm about to go home. I'm gonna read my Bible. I had a thirst, I had a hunger for it. And I had that experience and it changed me a lot. So I started to really like transform my life around the things that I was learning, and I built that foundation with God. I don't know if y'all want me to go on, but I can get into a whole story right now behind this.
Wait.
So, okay, so boom. That's my sisters, by the way. If y'all know who Legally Hype is, okay, so boom. I gave my life to Christ when I was 19 years old. And from there, I joined a ministry. I got fully involved in the ministry. I mean, whether it be bake sales, whatever we could do, I wanted to be a part of it, right? This is like when I first got the idea of like, I would low-key like to do like some type of project management or whatever the case may be. Because it was somebody else that recognized me in that way, and they were like, you should get into project management. And I didn't realize like whatever the things that I had been doing, it kind of falls in that category. And so I remember when I was 19, we used to do this thing called Monday night prayer, and it would be prayer for an hour, right? Just of prayer. The doors open, you just pull up to the church or whatever. And the church that I was going to at the time was very small. I don't really know the details because I wasn't that close like with the pastor or anything to where I knew, but I just knew that they lost the church. And at that point, we started like kind of going to their home. So the things that we were doing, I don't know, eventually it just fell apart.
Okay.
And so I ended up joining another church, but that thing of the Monday night prayer where we would just walk in and praise and worship for an hour straight, just, I mean, different corners of the room, hands and knees. If somebody wanted to, they could come over there and start praying with you, whatever. I love that. That was something that I had looked forward to because I was building my prayer life. So I started opening my home, like my house. Mind you, I don't got no house. I'm living with my parents. And I was opening their door every Monday night for prayer. And I was actually doing this at my son's dad's house. Mind you, we're fresh out of high school. So we're doing it at the parents' house, you know? And they allowed us to have that because they knew that it was something positive. So we would literally put a piece of paper on the door, like handwritten, doors unlocked, come into prayer, whatever, and we would tell like those who are part of that congregation and then like our new congregation, and if they wanted to bring anybody they could, and then we would just provide like some little snacks for at the end. And I got this worship playlist that would just play, and we would just move the furniture and we would just get on our hands and knees and pray for an hour straight. And that is something that was like, I love doing that.
That's dope.
So from there I started, you know, just being heavily involved in like leadership and stuff in the church. And then boom, my life takes like a major turn. And mind you, I'm new in Christ. I'm still a baby in Christ. Not only am I a baby in Christ, but I'm just a baby, period. I'm 19 years old. I'm a 19-year-old mom at that. And so things just started changing. Like I'm a full-time student. I'm working part-time. I'm doing 12-hour clinicals because I'm in an LVN program, still working at Sunrise Senior Living, doing the night shift, still dropping my son off at daycare, like doing all this stuff. And I love my mom to death. My mom, she is my greatest supporter. Like she makes sure I have everything I need. Like I will never fall as long as my mother is still alive on this earth. But one day, me and my mom we got into it bad. And I left home and I never looked back. To this day, I have not lived at home from that day. I mean, that day I walked out the door. She was like, if you walk out the door, leave the key. I took the key off the ring, threw it, and walked out and got in my car. And then a week later, I came back and fit what I could in my trunk, and I left again, and I never looked back. And so,
how's your relationship now?
it's great. I talk to my mom every day. But this is just kind of how the cookie crumble, and it's just crazy how certain things will happen in your life, but it'll always end up pushing you into where it is
you
that
need
you're
to be.
supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So that whole situation happening ended up translating to, me staying with, friends and stuff like that. Then I started having car trouble. So then I wasn't able to make it to clinicals on time. And anybody that's ever been like in any type of nursing school or LVN school, whatever, it's like being in military school.
For sure.
So you are a minute past the time that you're supposed to be there. They'll make you make up those whole 12 hours.
Exactly.
And you have to do the whole 12 hours after. And with that too, you can only miss a certain amount of hours before you get dropped.
Right.
So boom, I got sent home or whatever. I was late. Got sent home, ended up being past the amount of hours that I could miss. Got dropped from my nursing program in the last 3 months.
Thanks.
Wow.
Car trouble, staying at a friend's house. My best friend, that's still my best friend to this day. I was living with her and her mom. They opened their home to me. And so it just started getting a little crazy. So I ended up moving. That's when I ended up moving to Inglewood with my auntie. And at the time, I had a friend that I was doing nursing school with. She was working at the club at Sam's, Hofbräu. And she would be like showing us her money, all this stuff. And I would be like, girl, like put me on. Like I need to get some things right. So at this time that all this is going on, also me and my son's dad, we had just officially split as well. So I'm kind of house hopping right now. My son's primarily with his father at this point because I'm not in a stable situation. So I ended up moving to LA and I got to...
Wait, where were you? You were Inglewood, then you moved to...
No, at this time I was at my stepdad's house in Rancho. And so I ended up moving to Inglewood with my auntie, after staying with friends for a while, trying to figure it out, then having to humble myself, being like, family, one of y'all gonna have to help me. I can't keep staying. Me and my best friend, we two women sharing a bedroom, a bathroom is getting, this is getting tough. I need to
that
be,
makes sense. That makes sense.
And
now,
her mom
love
is
that you have for
providing for us. It's just, I had to figure out the next move. Yeah. And so I ended up moving to Inglewood with my auntie, and I got 2 jobs at Fox Hills. I was working at Chic and at this other clothing store that's not even in there anymore. And then I ended up getting a job at the club. And I started working at the club, and I was working at the strip club as a bottle service waitress. So I went from working in like leadership in a church, doing nursing, to selling shoes and working in a strip club. You get what I'm saying? And because all this stuff is like happening at one time, I'm just like, okay, I'm being forsaken. Like, God, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, I'm doing everything right. I'm praising you. I'm opening my home up to people to get to know you better. I'm telling everybody about you everywhere I go. I'm reading my word. I done got dropped from school. I done got kicked out of my home, technically. My car, this is and that and the third. My money is funny. I'm like, what did I do? Right. Like, you don't mess with me like that. So bet. I'm going to go here. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to go be independent, and I'm going to just make it shake.
Yeah.
So at that point, I start working in the strip club. Then COVID hits. 2020,
2019?
Yeah, 2020, COVID hits. And so, everything shuts down. So I no longer have my jobs at the mall. The club, shut down too. But then, as we all know, the nightlife was still jumping, just underground. So I got with the underground movement, you know what I'm saying? And so I was still continuing to do bottle service, just underground, And the whole time that I was working in the club, I wouldn't even pray. Like, it was like I would be praying on the inside, but like I stopped seeking God. I stopped going to church. I stopped reading my Bible. I stopped, really professing him to other people. I was still like, he would still be ministering to my heart, and I would still be kind of like seeking him a little bit in my heart. But I definitely kept suppressing it, right? Because when I first started working in the club, I would have to take like these bathroom breaks because it's like I was so spiritually heightened at the time. Like I said, I went from spending deep time in prayer and my word and stuff like that. So it's like I'm in this environment and it's a lot of spiritual activity going on in here.
Of course.
I can't even take it. You know what I'm saying? It's like my alarm bells are going off the whole time I'm at work. But then I'm seeing the money and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
My first night when I went in, I had a photo shoot. I did a photo shoot with my cousin Tori. She also does hair in Inglewood. I did a photo shoot with her, and after the photo shoot, I went up to the club because I heard that they were having like open like interviews or whatever the case may be, but it was going to be over at a certain time. But I had my shoot, so I missed the time frame. So I ended up saying, you know what, I'm gonna go anyway. And I went up there and I met the manager. And I told her that I wanted to work and get a job here. And she was like, take a step back. I took a step back. She said, do a spin. I did a spin. She was like, what are you doing tonight? I was like, what are we doing tonight? You tell me. She was like, do you have...
So, wow.
I'm telling you, I kid you, I can't make this up. She was like, do you have anything black? Mind you, I had already had on a black corset, and I'll send you guys a photo of my very first night in the club. I already had on a black corset top from the photo shoot.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Let me go to my car. I had some black biker shorts in my car. I got the biker shorts. She took me to the back. She gave me a fanny pack and put me on the floor right then and there.
Wow.
And my first night I made $500. Or like 507, like something of that nature.
Yeah.
Never been a waitress before, never, did anything like it. Just threw me to the wolves. I made $500. I said, when do you want me to come back? When's my next shift? She was like, come back tomorrow, I'll be here at 10, hair and makeup ready. Mind you, when I pulled up, I was hair and makeup from a photo shoot. Yeah. She was like, be back tomorrow, hair and makeup by 10. Bet. That was the start of my journey. But like I said, I was pulling up and I was having to just numb myself. So that's when I just started getting into like drinking, because I'd be like, oh my God, like as soon as I get here, I need to take a shot. Because if not, my internal bells and whistles will just be going off just from all the spiritual activity and me being sensitive to it.
Yeah.
So that was like the start of like my desensitization in Christ, That's when I was having to like really lessen, like it was like I intentionally disrupted or disturbed my discernment, which I don't want to say I regret that, but it's like, I went through what I had to go through to get where I am today.
For sure,
but that's definitely a thing that I had experienced, was going through the process of like intentionally disrupting my discernments. And it's like, when you know what you know, who does that?
Yeah.
But that's what I had to do at the time to survive being in that period of my life.
For sure.
And it took something extremely crazy to pull me out of that.
It always let me share a story with you. That's funny that you mentioned that, because I just recently went through a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
About the accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going to church more since then. At first, before then, I was going to church like every Sunday, been doing Bible study on Tuesdays and prayer night on Fridays. I was going consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere on that journey, just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
And God has this way of reminding you quick. He will slow you down and stop you. You will come to a halt.
What?
Like just like that. So I'm grateful to still be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely had to share my testimony in church. I was just like, my advice to those people in church that day was to not wait on God to pretty much like stop you or, bring you to this halt to seek him.
Mm-hmm.
You get me? You should already be seeking him in everything that you do.
Yeah.
I don't want to get like spiritual, but that's just where I'm at. But that's just funny that he always has his way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for
It-
sure.
When he's tugging on your heart and you ignore him, he will definitely do whatever he has to do to get your attention. Because one thing about God, like we already know, it's all this is, though we have free will, it's already written. So when you're one of his and you're being prodigal and running and doing and living life however you want to, he's going to reel you back in one way or another. And I think that that's a really good point that you made as well. Like, I've had to tell God that myself. I'm like, Lord, I don't want you to have to break me in order for me to need you. I want to be in a constant place in my life where it's like I know that I need God, so he doesn't have to break me into pieces for me to know that or for me to go to him to be repaired. I'd rather just do life with you.
Let me ask you this, Jordan. How are you able to be so like resilient? It seems like everything's just kind of like, I know you have God, I know you have a strong support system, but you're like, it's, I don't want to say like you're not normal, but it's like, how are you able to, because I know what just recently happened, with the whole thing that you had going on with Miss forget her name, the radio show.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
lost my mentor. And she was an amazing woman. Sorry, if we're gonna bring her up, we gotta give her her moment.
right.
Um,
It's Robin.
yes. Sorry.
Okay, take your turn.
I had an amazing mentor. I was blessed to experience a woman who saw me for the woman that I had yet to become. And she spoke to the woman that I had yet to become. And she supported the woman that I had yet to become. And that's love. You guys asked me, have you ever experienced love? That was love. I experienced a woman who was no kin to me that specifically saw me and chose to love me and to nurture me and to support me and to put me in rooms that I never thought that I would ever be in, and that honored me as though I had done the work that she had done because she knew the work that I would do. And even if I didn't ever do those things, she saw my heart and she loved me. And so she just passed away recently, December 5th, 2024. And that was really hard because our lives were so engulfed in each other's. I was her personal assistant, but she was also like a sister to me. Even when we weren't working, we were together having a good time, even if it was just to eat, even if it was just to make content. We had a real relationship. It wasn't just, oh, I work for her. It started off as me working for her, and honestly, I didn't do much working for her. Honestly, it was like I was like, hey, I love what you do. Can I learn from you? And in exchange, whatever you need, I got you. And she was like, okay, like let's figure it out. And it came less about that and just us having like we just flowed. We had a natural flow together. It was like we were very much so in sync. We were always thinking the same thing at the same time. We were very intuitive to each other. The level of intuition I would wish to have for my husband someday. Okay, because I'm like, the way that we were just so intuitive to each other, it just made everything, whenever we did things together, it flowed more seamlessly because of it. And I got to be poured into by an amazing woman who definitely nurtured me. And I'm going to take the things that she taught me very like it's gonna follow me all throughout my life. She was a mother, a wife, a radio host, a host in general, an entertainer, an author. She was so many things, a fashionista. She went to fashion school. She was a lot of things. She was a woman that wore many hats. And I'll never forget the day that I met her. Because, like I said, my sister, she's an influencer. Her name is I Am Legally Hype. You can find her on any platform at I Am Legally Hyped for all your news and information that you need to know about what's going on in the world. So please don't fail to do that. But my sister did her show. And I went with my sister to do her show so I could get like B-roll and whatnot for her, just helping my sister out, making sure she could get some content. And when I went to watch her do the show, I ended up completely mesmerized by the host, which was Robin. And like just her energy, her radiance, just everything about her. It was like, and everyone says this about her, so I'm not just saying this because it's me. She had a light about her that was irrefutable. It was like you couldn't see it, you couldn't sense it, you couldn't not feel it when you're in her presence. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And the way that she carried herself, the way that she curated the show, I was like, oh my gosh, I have found the example of the type of woman I want to be. It's you. So we had the show. It was a great time. We had a ball. I want to say a couple days later, because we followed each other on Instagram, I hit her up. I asked her for her email, and I sent her an email like, listen, I loved everything that you do and how you do it. I want to be more like you. I would love to be under your tutelage. I would love to be, mentored by you. If you're looking for an assistant or an intern, like I want to be that. And whatever I could do to add value to you in exchange, let me know. Like, can we make this happen? And she was like, okay, like, let's see what we can do. Let's get together and let's see what I can offer. And when I got with her, she was like, listen, like, I don't know what I can do for you or whatever, or what you can do for me, but how just come around, be around, and we'll figure it out. And that's exactly what we did. And we were a match made in heaven ever since.
That's so dope.
So question, what's three things what's three things that she gave you that you always remember just in life?
The power of authenticity,
Okay.
the power of integrity, and knowing that who you are can get you further than what you can do. She used to always tell me, she used to be like, Jordyn, just put yourself out there. We would go certain places, be in certain environments, and I would be like, man, I would love to do that, or man, I would love to work with this person. And she would be like, well, put yourself out there. So even though I was like working for her, it was never like a thing where it's like, oh, you're with me. It was like she was always finding ways to put me in, and she would tell me, she's like, Jordyn, put yourself out there. Like, you could do this, you could do that. And I would be like, like, I'm not really qualified, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, Jordyn, sometimes who you are and how you are and your personality will open more doors from you than any skill you could possess. And she taught me that. And it was true, to the point where, like, there are experiences that I've had, there are tables that I have sat at where it's like, anybody else would be like, who let this girl in? What did she do? Where are her credentials? And I don't have not near one. Okay? And let me tell you, so much so real, I'm about to expose myself. I used to be a substitute teacher. I don't have a degree. I mean, I don't even have a college degree. Like, I'm still in school right now, getting my bachelor's. Like, when I was working as a substitute teacher, I didn't have not a teaching credential, all I had was a high school diploma. I was 100% completely unqualified for that job position. I just was able to talk to the man that was looking to fill the position, and the conversation went so well that he forgot to get proof. He forgot to get proof that I was even qualified. I don't even know how he got away with that. I don't know how I got away with that, but I sure did. And I was teaching K through 12 as a substitute teacher, completely unqualified, looking like one of them, young.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's crazy.
So that was a really big thing that she taught me, and I hold dearly to that, because now when I'm out in the world and I'm interacting with other people and I'm in spaces or places or around people that I feel like may have more, maybe like notoriety than me or more qualifications than me, that are maybe better suited for the job, I don't let that shy me away from putting myself out there, because I'm like, if I just simply be who I am, and if this is something that is for me, there's nothing I can't learn. So even if I may not have the experience, show me what to do and give me a chance to do it, and let's see how well I get it done.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So with that, what's next for you? What's next?
So what's next for me right now is I have just recently put out a book, and I just created my journal. It's called the Her Expression Journal. Something that I discovered about myself that's always been there, but for some reason was a new discovery for me, was my love for poetry. And because I wasn't somebody that like really like listened to poetry or ever been to like poetry slams and things of that nature, I didn't recognize it as like a love for it. But I've been writing poetry my whole life. I love to journal. I write every single day, even when I'm at work. I keep a journal on me. In my bag over there, there's probably about 3 more journals with things written in it. So it's like I'm always constantly expressing myself. I'm constantly filtering through my thoughts. And then on days where I feel inspired, or sometimes when I'm writing, I realize like there is a poetic rhythm to the way that I write when I'm in that mode. And so because I'm somebody that's so fond of just like journaling and of that thing, I decided to create my own that had the aesthetic and the things that I would love for a journal that I write in every day to have.
Okay.
I figure, okay, somebody taught me this, and he told me, he was like, you should invest in the things that you already invest in. Like, if you're gonna make an investment in like a stock or something like that, then you should invest in the things that you consume, the things that you buy on a daily basis. For example, I am an AMC stub member. I go to AMC all the time. I love the traditional act of like going to the movies. To me, that's like the most, you know, that used to really be date night.
Yeah.
Dinner and a movie. Like, I just love the tradition of going to the movies. So I have some stock in AMC because it's like I give a lot of my money to AMC. Why not invest where I spend, you know?
Track.
So that was my mindset behind creating my journal. I run through journals. I mean, I probably buy about 10 journals a year, and I fill all the pages every time. So that's when I decided, okay, well, how about I create my own? And lucky for me, my best friend is a graphic designer. So I was able to tell her what I wanted it to look like. And after I created all the content, I was able to just transfer all the content that I wanted inside the journal for her, and she was able to design it for me.
That's dope.
So so what's next for me is just like exploring that side of me. I recently did my
Real quick, where can they purchase these?
Oh,
works?
you can just go to the link in my bio on Instagram. My Instagram is Jordyn Sommer, JORDYN SOMMER. When you go to the link in my bio, you'll see a link that says Stan Store. And on my Stan Store, you can buy a digital version of this. So for those of you guys who like to like digitally journal on your iPad or whatever the case may be, you can get the digital version of this journal, or you can order the physical journal as well, which is this. And inside of this journal has some of just like my favorite quotes, some of my favorite scriptures that I live by that have gotten me through different seasons of my life. Let me fix this real quick. So it's filled with just different quotes that I have learned, and different foundational scriptures that I believe that every woman should have imprinted on their heart.
Can you pick one of your favorite ones?
I was just gonna ask, like, what's your favorite, if you have a favorite?
You know what? What is my favorite one in here? I wish I had that answered or pre-prepared. But you know what? Here's a good one. Just right here. No is a complete sentence and needs no explanation. No is your right and means to protection, prioritization, and boundaries. And I think that that's a very real thing, because a lot of times we're hesitant to say no to people, or to say no to things, or to say no to opportunities for all these different reasons. But a no is powerful. It is your means to protection, prioritization, and what was the third one? Let me know if y'all paying attention. What was the third one?
I was listening.
Prioritization, and what's the third one?
I have a bad memory. I've never been able to.
We got to run it back open. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe y'all wasn't listening.
Well, there's a quote that I say all the time, is that
What is it?
the biggest communication problem is that we do not listen to understand, but to give a reply. So I was listening to understand you. I just didn't want to, make it seem like I wasn't paying attention, because I was.
Yeah.
It's just you said it a little fast, so it kind of,
Yeah, no, it's okay. Let me see. Where did it go? Because I had a good point that I wanted to make. But it's like we got to say it in full. It has to be complete thought. That's crazy. Let me see. And it's crazy because it opened straight to it. When I opened it, it was like I didn't even have to search for it. It just was the first thing to pop up.
I used to do that when I used to read my Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I would pray on my Bible and be like, whatever I open it to, whatever the first, whatever verse that I see, let me read it and then apply it into my life,
Mm-hmm.
or help me
Found it.
apply it into
What
my
was the
life.
third one?
And then
No, finish his thought.
no, it's okay. He do that all the time. Go ahead.
So it says, no is a complete sentence. It needs no explanation. No is your right and means to protection, prioritization, and boundaries. I'm going to leave this
I was
one.
looking for another P.
No, it's
Yeah, it's
boundaries.
boundaries.
And I think that this is an important thing for every woman to understand, right? So like I said, every quote, every scripture in here, and it's universal. It's for men as well, but this was specifically curated for women. But again, the principles are principles, and they apply to men and women alike. Yeah. But I think that this is something that's really important for women to memorize and understand and accept and know, because it's true. You have to be able to stand on your no and let your no mean no. And a lot of times when you're in the midst of over explaining your no, it's because somebody's trying to change your mind. If I'm having to explain to you why I'm telling you no, it's likely because you're trying to convince me to say yes when I've already said no. So I shouldn't have to explain and get you to accept and understand my no, because a lot of times if I'm telling you no, it's because I'm setting a boundary, it's because I'm trying to protect myself, or it's because I have a different priority.
Yeah, sure.
So if you want to be a person that has strong boundaries, strong prioritization skills, and you want to be protected, then you cannot be afraid of saying no. And you have to be willing to be okay with not explaining your no to everybody. Because I can tell you why the answer is no to your blue in the face, and it's going to be like, well, just please. It's like, no, I said no, and there's not going to be any more conversation about it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to tell yourself no.
Yeah, sometimes you do. When I go to Target, I have to tell myself no. I'm telling you, when I get on TikTok and I'm on TikTok Shop, I have to tell myself, no, girl, you do not need that. You need to prioritize your finances. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
My
no,
no
is
is for prioritization purposes, because if not, I will be broke. There's so many things on there that looks like I need it.
Yeah,
it's like they're calling out to me, these items.
Yeah, nah, facts. Yeah, nah, I do the same thing on the Nike app. I'll be like, nah, I can't get these.
Yeah.
I can't get them this week, but next week, if I see them, I'm getting them. Sorry.
Let me ask you guys something. What is something that's really hard for you guys to say no to as men that can compromise you in an area of priorities, boundaries, or protection? What is something that you struggle to say no to? I want you to go first.
One thing that I have a problem with saying no is to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so willing to help and to be there for people that I got to start realizing that I have to cut people off and learn how to be there for myself first. Because you can't help anybody before you help yourself.
Exactly.
And then as you trying to help them, you're drowning yourself in the same light, you know? So it's like, it's a lose-lose situation sometimes. Like, for example, I had a friend that committed suicide 2 days ago. So in that light, I still have to do this.
Right.
In that same light, I still have to keep my composure. Luckily for me, I didn't look at the message until after I was leaving the ER, because I work in the ER. I'm also in school for nursing too.
Okay. Congratulations.
So in the midst of doing that, it's like nah, I can't get in my feelings. No, I can't break down because I have a goal set out. I can go home and kind of reconcile with my feelings, but after that, I got to move forward.
Yeah.
And the forwardness is not to say that I don't care. It's for myself, because I'm not a crash out.
Yeah.
I'm not a dummy. I'm not I'm already going through other things mentally, but it's like I still have to bring myself back to me, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my and even Nicc, he was like, "Hey, if you can't do this, we can always reschedule." And I told him no.
Yeah.
I was like, "No, I don't want to because this is therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
This helps me get through the rough times, you know?" So,
I think that an important lesson in grief is to know that it's okay to give yourself permission to be okay.
yeah, for sure.
I think I experienced that as well too when I lost my mentor. It's like there would be moments, right, in the midst of my pain where I felt peace or I felt okay, which was the very thing that I had been praying to God for. Lord, give me the peace that surpasses all understanding. But then when I would experience that peace, I would self-sabotage it with guilt or shame because it's like, if I have this peace right now, does that mean that I didn't love her? Does that mean that she didn't mean as much to me as I thought? Does this mean that I don't care?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like I realized that I was sabotaging the very thing that God was gifting me, the very thing that I was asking for. And it's like I had to realize like you have to give yourself permission to be okay because two things can coexist at the same time. You could be grieving and still have peace. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I think a lot of times we also have to understand that peace is acceptance, right? And just because you have peace with the situation doesn't mean that you always feel this like flowy sense of calm. You can have peace and still have days where you feel pain because I think that peace is when you are just willing to accept the situation for what it is and you no longer seek to like want to change it or manipulate it, or you're willing to just simply take your hands off the situation because you've accepted the fact that this is what is.
Yeah.
And that can be peace as well,
Yeah.
even if you don't always feel just great and blissful inside.
Yeah, but so to also give my thought on that, sometimes as I'm gonna speak for myself as an African American man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not always allowed to have peace or always allowed to have this okayness.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say that is because, and it's like that for a lot of men too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna speak for myself though in this situation because you go through so much, but them bills don't care about what you're going through.
Yeah.
Your school tuition don't care about what you're going through. Your job don't care about what you're going through.
They really don't.
Your business, your LLC don't care about what you're going through. It's about what you gonna do, and are you gonna run through these obstacles and keep God first?
Yeah, in spite of what you're going
Exactly.
through.
Like to piggyback, for a while, I didn't pray.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, before we go into,
Oh.
I didn't even answer my question.
Oh, but Maya, go ahead.
We'll circle back to you. That way he doesn't lose his thought. Well,
No,
I'm going to
well-
ask you again because I'm not going to forget the question, but I want you to
Well,
get
I'm
this
gonna
out.
just keep it short. Like when I lost my daughter
Mhm.
12 years ago, right? I promise you, my faith was to the edge where I could push it off if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I decided as soon as I was about to jump off the edge, I grabbed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nah, we can't do this.
Yeah.
I threw my Bible across the room. That's how pissed off I was. I'm still mad. But my faith in God is real. It means something to me.
Yeah.
My grandmother taught me that. I grew up in the church, just like you.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go to church
Yeah.
every Sunday. There was nothing. You tell my grandmother you're not going to church, and she will be waking you up from wherever you at to get you dressed to go to church.
Yeah. Ain't
You
no
know?
skip.
And on top of that, she was a nurse, so
Yeah.
that kind of makes that to to go back. That's what
That
made me want to
care.
be a nurse. Also,
Yeah.
that's what made me care. But also to show that I had the will to get through adversity.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, as Black men, we don't get a chance to really say a lot because we got to keep it tucked in because we have to have this masculine energy and everybody expects us to still be okay. And we don't always get the opportunity to be like, woo, like, bro, I'm getting beat up out here. Can I
Yeah.
get some help?
Yeah.
But the only help I'm going to have is God.
Right.
it's really all I need. But
Nick,
and that's just to
I'm a
finish what I'm gonna
circle.
say.
Thank you for
Listen,
sharing
I'm
that.
a circle back to you because you're going to answer the question as well. But I want to ask you one more thing.
Cool.
As a black man, you said that you're not always allowed to have peace or
Yeah.
have the help. As a black man coming from a black woman, what is something that we as black women could do to create a space for you to have that very thing?
Oh, that
What can
question.
we do differently, or what could we do to help to provide that safe space
Mm.
or peace that it is that you say that you're not allowed to have?
I
I
like
want to
that.
answer this one too.
It's to pray for me when I can't pray for myself.
And now let me ask you this. Is this a situation, right, given a given scenario? Is this something where it's like we come to you and say, hey, let's pray? Or is it something where it's like, this could just be something that I do in my prayer closet and not ever even having to tell you about it?
It could be a mixture of both.
Mm-hmm.
To also answer this too, my peace is knowing that I'm on my way to retire my mom before she retires herself.
Uh-huh.
That's peace to me. It's knowing that I'm creating something that's longevity,
Mm-hmm.
that's generational,
Mm-hmm.
that'll speak for me without me even having to say nothing.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's the foundation. But also make sure that I keep God on that foundation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because just having the attributes and the blessings mean nothing without God.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
At that point, it's just good deeds.
But yeah, another thing, it's probably my last thing. It's just to be there for me how I would be there for you.
And what does that look like?
That's a good question.
If you were to need somebody to be there for you, how do you want them to show up, right? We're not mind readers. So tell me, what does that look like showing up for you the way you would show up for me?
Meaning, if we're having a conversation already about like how your day is going, how my day is going, I'm gonna go out my way to try to make your day better, because the outside world shouldn't affect what's inside of our household, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I expect it, but I would hope that my partner would have the same reciprocation back without me having to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same way we as men have to figure out what you need and what you want and what brings you peace of mind, I think that if you're with me long enough, you would know that I'm a simple person and I don't ask for much already. So the little things, like buy me a can of Pringles, like you feel me? Like I love Pringles, so buy me a can of Pringles and buy me a cold Gatorade, and I promise you, I will love you forever. You know, like it's stuff like that. Like I'm not really that.
I mean, but that's temporary. I feel like if I had to answer that question, it would be understanding. It would just be simply to understand, and wanting to understand. Because what you said, all of that is just a process. It's wanting to get to know that person, wanting to figure out exactly what it is that you need from me.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's a misstep. I think a lot of the times I feel like if you truly want to like be better for somebody, you'll be better for that person.
For sure.
And it's really just that simple to me.
So I'm gonna re-ask the question for you, just like for the sake of context.
Okay.
He explained that a lot of times as black men, you're also a black man, so I can only imagine that you also feel this way.
Yeah.
That you guys are not allowed to basically release. You guys are not allowed to release. You guys are not allowed to have peace. You guys are not allowed to feel, to emote. What is it that we as black women could do to create a space where you feel like you could do those very things? Like, what is an action step that we could take, or what is something that we could do or exude or show in order for you to feel like you have a place where you actually can do those things? What does that look like, or what would that be?
I circle back again, just understanding, being open, being honest, and not throwing the things that how would I word that? Like, if I come to you with my problems, whatever my situations, don't throw that back on person because it's already hard enough. Because a lot of the times as men, it's hard for us to even come to that person and be open and honest.
Yeah.
Like we weren't taught to be open and honest. You know what I'm saying? As black men, it's just like, oh, just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. So with all that being said, everything's a learning process for
Right.
me. I feel like for not only for the woman but for the man,
Yeah.
the man learn to allow the woman to be there for you. A lot of the times as men, we want to be strong and we want to be like, we got it, and want to just put everything on our shoulders. A lot of the times there's no need for that.
Yeah.
Facts.
Because I will say, even just in my own experience, like sometimes you guys don't want, like, it's not that you guys don't want it, but yeah, you guys don't know how to receive it as well. There could be someone that's like, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And you got, I'm good. And it's like, I know that it's not true. I know that you're not good. So it's like, come on, like, let's talk about it.
Right.
What's going on with you? Or come on, just get it off your chest. Like, I'm here. Let's talk. Y'all will start getting frustrated because it's like, why are you trying to force me to be in my feelings
But also,
right now?
also it takes only one person for that person to open up to in a bad situation or whatever, like they throw it on them, that makes that person just shut down and never want to open up ever again.
I also want to add this. The reason why that's hard for a man to do, and you know that he's lying about it, is because if we do open up and we get into an argument about something, you throw it in my face.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather just be quiet and play my video game or look at my computer and create something for my brand than to sit here and have a conversation with you. Because it's a difference, and I'm in it like this. It's a difference between disrespect and then being embarrassed. You can disrespect me in our household and we can figure it out. But once you do the other thing, where now I'm embarrassed and it's in front of my family or my friends, I no longer even want to be with you at that point. We might as well just end this because I would never do you how you do me. And women don't understand that. And by the time they
Some
do
women.
it, no, forget that.
Some women.
Whatever he say, but you can have a conversation. It's just, are you willing to listen, to understand, or do you want to just give a reply just for us to feel better? That's how I'm in now.
I just want to say this real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
This is for Jordyn. I am so